Y'all might have seen that I recently put out a vlog-like video on my experience going to a match at the Women's Euros, both the match itself as well as the lead up to it and everything that goes on in Basel in the lead up to that game. So I was really excited about that, and I enjoyed making the vlog-like video, but I also think that there was more I wanted to say, and I didn't know if that would work very well in a vlog video. So now I'm going to make the second video that kind of just talks through a bit more what the experience is like and my thoughts on attending a match as well as the atmosphere around the tournament. Because I was hoping for this really unique atmosphere because I feel a feeling that's like there's just nothing like an international tournament to where it's like something completely foreign almost. So I thought that I would go and experience something I'd never experienced before, and I think that is what I got. I realized the tone I said that in. I didn't really mean it to, but it kind of sounds like I was going to be disappointed. I was actually really happy with how it went. I think on the first day, I came there the day before the first match, the day before the match I went to, and I at that point thought, I mean, outside of the fan zone, you could go around Basel and not entirely know that the Euros are happening. It's not like it's on everyone's lips or anything. But you did see some branding for it. You saw hanging from the tram lines there was stuff for the Euros, and you saw in shops there was Euro branding, as well as some trams having like the full wrapping around them of Euro branding. And so I think that my initial assessment might have been incorrect because my first thoughts were outside of the fan zone. There wasn't much to really say that the Euros were happening, but the more I walked around the city, the more I realized that wasn't really the case, and you did kind of get that feeling that a Euros match was happening. And then I went to the fan zone in Barfusterplatz to watch the Germany-Sweden game, and that was a great time just to watch it with a bunch of people. Highly expensive. They were selling Pepsi for 5 francs, which is insane. Like a bottle of Pepsi. You could find a Coke at a shop just outside the fan zone for like 2 francs, and so that was a lot easier. And I noticed a lot of people were doing that because 5 francs is insane. I guess Switzerland in general is just a very expensive country. That's probably one of the big drawbacks to Switzerland as hosts of the Euros. I think otherwise they've been a pretty exceptional host. Like they've done really well, and I think that like the mid-sized tournament, like the mid-sized stadiums they've got, initially it was met with some skepticism, but I think it's actually worked really well because you've seen full stadiums for pretty much every match, and it still set a group stage record. It's kind of like this slightly new era of women's football in Europe that we haven't really been to before. If the 2019 World Cup in France, 2022 Euros in England kind of ushered in this sort of new optimism for the tournaments, this was like the first of a new era where there is more intrigue. Not like, it's still not comparable to the men's Euros in terms of audience and intrigue, but it's certainly gotten a lot more notoriety now. And so I think Switzerland might have actually been a really good nation to usher that in because they have a bunch of mid-sized venues that worked really well. It would be nice if they had even like a 50,000 seater stadium because we have seen that women's games can sell out 70,000, 80,000 even fans. But I think that still your average game it probably works better in a stadium like what Switzerland's got. So I think Switzerland's actually done a really good job, and there's been a lot of positivity in the coverage of the Euros. So I'm excited about that. And in Basel, you could see just like this fun festival of football. On the first day, it was like it was its own thing. And I didn't notice as much. And then on the second day, when the match actually happened, that's when you really got the feeling, yeah, this is a major tournament. I'm here with a bunch of people going to watch a football match. And I really just gotta once again praise the Netherlands fans. I did plenty of that in my video vlogging the tournament, and I can't praise them enough. It was awesome. It was Basel's very close to France. Like you could walk from Saint Louis, which is where I was staying in France, to Basel in like 10, 15 minutes, or at least into Switzerland. And you could probably walk to the stadium there if you really wanted to in 1 or 2 hours. So surely you would think in a match that France are involved with, it would largely be French fans who were out doing stuff and in the stadium. And perhaps seeing a bunch of orange shirts more than really any France shirts during the day, I shouldn't be surprised by, because as there are probably a lot of French people who were close enough to that border that they could go to Basel, they might have already been there, to where it's less of a unique experience to be in Basel, whereas for the Netherlands it would be more unique, and a lot of them probably haven't been to Basel before. But then even in the stadium, the Netherlands fans put France to shame for their fan support, because Netherlands were just like a different level. And I think that's more, I'm saying that to praise the Dutch fans than to criticize the French. But honestly, with how close it was to France, I was surprised by just how superior the Dutch support was. They were meeting up hours before the walk to the stadium even happened, and they were just there to have a party. You could see them dancing around the whole time, handing out free stuff. You got like flags, posters, face paint, whatever. And then the walk to the stadium came, and 10,000 fans walked from Central Basel to the stadium, which is absolutely awesome. And then you go into the stadium, and again, it's just all orange shirts. So that was really amazing to see, and it was so much fun to walk around with the Dutch fans. And like outside the stadium, even they did some stuff. I think that every country needs to get a bus, because that Dutch bus, the orange bus, was awesome, and they really helped out the atmosphere a lot. I discovered Lynx Rex, which was like, it's a relatively simple thing. It's just someone shouting, "Go left, now go right." And yet it's so much fun just bouncing to the left with thousands of people, then going back to the right, just bouncing back and forth with each other. And so it's just like this really fun thing, and I really gotta praise the Netherlands fans for everything they did to make this tournament, like to really just add to that atmosphere. And it was just like, I was taken aback. It was breathtaking to see how impressive the Netherlands support was. And then it came to the actual match itself in a pretty full stadium. I think there were maybe like a few thousand empty seats, like 1 or 2 thousand in a stadium of 38,000. They got 34,000 attendance, so more or less a sold out stadium for this match. And the France in the second half just kind of blew away the Dutch. But that was the thing. The Dutch had gone into the match very unlikely to progress. They needed a very big win, and yet the fans still showed up for them. And even after France just kept piling on the goals in the second half, there was still some sort of like applause and cheer. And I noticed that at the fan event as well, because there were a lot of Germans watching the match in the fan zone the previous day, and even when they were losing 4-1, they were clapping. And I don't entirely know like where you would draw the line with that, because there is an argument to be made that if you accept failure, that you might, let your team get away with it too much. At the same time, I've really liked like attending women's matches, because I am of the opinion that there are very rare instances really when you should be booing your team, because that's your team, they're playing for you. So I think you'd have to be doing something pretty bad for me to be really angry at the players, so much so that I would outwardly just like lay on the criticism to a point of like booing them in the stadium. And I've been to men's matches where that happens, where a team's losing by a goal at halftime and they're booed off the pitch. What I really liked about Arsenal matches that I went to in the WSL is when we would go down, the fans didn't get upset. They cheered louder. Try and just lead the team on to do something better. And like positive reinforcement, I think generally does work better. And so when you are showing that you still support the team, when you have that support behind them, it can be really meaningful and help spur the team on to play a bit better and get that next goal. So I have always liked that, and I saw that in full effect at the game. So by and large, I think that the tournament was just so much fun to be a part of. And I was initially worried, but soon enough, my initial assessment was proven wrong. And you really did just get the feeling that there is a festival of football happening here. Um, it was, in all the shops, it was hanging from the tram lines. It was all the orange people around Basel during the match day. It was, just so much stuff that Switzerland in general doesn't have a super strong domestic game, and all of a sudden you host this tournament, and it really does seem like the people have bought into it there. I remember like walking to the stadium with Dutch fans, Basel natives just in their houses as thousands of fans walked past them. A few of them had like just grab anything orange because orange isn't a super common color that you have a lot of stuff in. But like I saw one family got this orange biker jacket that they hung from their porch, and another one got an orange towel, and so they just like put those out as the fans walked past and waved at them, and that stuff too. Like all of that is engagement in the tournament, and even just seeing branding for the Euros, that in its own sense is an engagement. To where you could see that and like just knowing that the Euros are happening, it might encourage you to want to attend a game. And so I think that is massively positive to see. And it was all around just an amazing experience, and I'm so glad that I got to do it.